Like many of you, I have a network at home, a home network, or as it used to be called around here, a home not work. You ever had a problem with getting things configured just so on your network? Full optimization, perfect settings, no issues whatsoever? You would be one in a million, because most people, even on simple home networks, can run into problems. It's just the nature of the beast. We're talking about hardware and software, and it's not always going to work perfectly. But there are ways to minimize the amount of frustration that you have with your home network. About 2 or 3 years ago, can't remember exactly how long, I wound up buying Apple's AirPort. Begrudgingly so. I was very happy with using another router and using open source firmware and tweaking everything about it, but ended up running into more problems than I thought it was worth. Decided to go with Apple, and I have not been disappointed. Many people would give AirPort glowing reviews for a lot of reasons. At first, I was a little put off by the fact that I had to use desktop software on either Mac OS X or Windows, so you don't have to be a Mac user to use Apple's AirPort as your primary router or wireless access point, because it functions as both. I was put off because why would I use that? Why wouldn't I just log into a web page, to take a look at settings? Well, I discovered why. One, desktop software is far more efficient in managing multiple network devices, and two, the desktop software will tell me when firmware is up to date. I like that. I'd never had a single router in all the ones that I'd purchased over time tell me when a new version of the firmware was available. I'd always have to go hunting for it. And then I'd worry, like, is this the right one? Do I have the right version of the product? Oh, it's a pain in the neck. AirPort took care of all that. The second reason why I was very happy with AirPort is that I, at some point, would have configured the network for suboptimal settings, and it would warn me. It would say, hey, you said it this way, but you may end up with problems. Do you want me to correct it for you? And I was like, wow, I didn't realize that I should have toggled something another way, or one setting that I toggled would have clobbered another feature. It would tell me before I actually did anything, versus using most router software, web-based, or at least, browser-based software. It wouldn't tell me beforehand. It would just let me make something go awry, and then I wouldn't know what I did. So AirPort and Apple vicariously has really made it easy to manage a home network, and I realize that now, especially with my recent acquisition, which I'm about to demonstrate for you. I needed to extend the range of my wireless network, and I have behind me, this is Apple's AirPort utility, available again for Mac OS X and Windows. I have two on the network, two devices, at least as far as network devices are concerned. I have a time machine, which is currently connected to this computer here, and then I also have my base station. They're two separate devices at this point in time. The base station is on the other side of my home, which is a bit far away. Well, the reason why I wanted to extend the range of my wireless network, I tried doing that with the time machine, but there was too much interference between it and where I needed to extend the signal. So I went out and I spent about $100 on an AirPort Express. Go.tagjag.com/AirPort Express if you want to buy your own. Bought it with my own money, as I did with the time machine, as I did with the AirPort outright. My own money. I could probably furnish the receipts. I don't know why I have to prove anything to anybody. Either way, it worked quite well. This is the AirPort Express, and if it looks familiar, it might be familiar. Actually, it looks a lot like the power brick that comes with the adapters for MacBooks. But it's a similar experience as with any other device from Apple. You have the removable adapter for AC power, so you can connect a cable extender to it. It's just their standard. And you could also put an international adapter in there. And then the front is quite simply, I guess, a port for the light. And when it's green, you are good to go. So to initially configure it, you simply plug it in by way of the Ethernet port, and you're good to go. Now, also on the AirPort Express, we have a speaker connector, audio connector for AirTunes, and we also have a USB port for sharing a printer on the network. But at this point in time, I'm pretty much using this on the other side. You can't really see the wall because I'm pointing off camera, but that's where I have it plugged in because I wanted to extend the signal up here, even as close as behind the desk here. I've got the time machine, and even trying to extend the network signal that way, I wasn't getting what I wanted in another room. This did the deed, and I was quite happy with the performance of this. So I'm going to go ahead and plug it in. With any luck, we'll actually see the icon for the AirPort Express actually populate here. And I'm going to try to narrate my journey into the other room. On the other side of the wall, let's walk in, plug in. Okay, I wasn't really saying anything. It's just kind of like babbling as I, normally do. Either way, it may take a minute or so for it to be recognized on the network again. I've set it up. I've been working with it for about a week now. Performance has been solid. I've tried it in different locations, testing again. My experience was I getting a strong signal by way of Wi-Fi? Was it weaker? Try a different outlet, moving it here, moving it there, and ultimately settle on the location where it currently is. So again, it may take a few seconds for it to populate, and I may actually have to restart the software, which I did, a few minutes before as I was running. It was a rough cut, the first draft of me explaining this hardware to everybody who was watching it on the live video feed. I unmuted the stream so they could tune in. So they've seen this, 3 or 4 times now? Sorry about that, but everybody out there who's watching it on YouTube, this is the first time that they've seen it. And did you see it pop up behind me? I was doing this. Stretching for time. Pulling taffy. Invisible taffy. That's what that is. So there we go. There's the adapter right there on the network with its icon. That's exactly what we saw just a few minutes ago. Nefertiti is its name. And as is the case, I could push anything to it by way of AirTunes. What's nice about the way Apple works with their software, I can either go with a manual setup and toggle settings individually, or go through a wizard type of experience where I say this is exactly how I want to use this network device. They do make it simple. And as you can see, I have 3 devices on the network, as I've stated. The base station, or my primary AirPort, the time machine, which I really only use for backup, and then the extender, which I can move around to get the optimal signal around my home. Very, very happy with the way Apple handles home networking. Certainly in comparison to a lot of junk that I've seen, and I'd rather spend the money on a good experience than save money and have a lackluster experience, because if you've ever needed a network to work, you'd spend anything. Unless, of course, you would rather just have a malfunctioning network, or spend a lot of time being confused as to why the network setting that you toggled isn't making everything work well at all. I think you would find that your performance would be good, if not better, than your current experience. Certainly if you have a network that extends beyond a single base station and you're having frustrations in getting everything to work exactly the way it should work, I think you would be quite happy with this. Go.tagjag.com/airport express. It works. I'm spending my own money. I only want to use the things that work well, and that's how I like to recommend things. Don't just like recommending things just because, ooh, it's new. Ooh, it's kind of shiny. Does it work? Yes. That's why I'm telling you about it. You may know of another wireless network system that works just as well, if not better. Although I'd be hard-pressed to find one because I haven't found anything like that yet. But you might know of one. My email address, chris@perillo.com, @ChrisPerillo on Twitter, Facebook.com/ChrisPerillo, @LockerGnome, or Facebook.com/LockerGnome, LockerGnome.net, LockerGnome.com. Gosh, we're all over the place, honestly. It's hard to avoid us. You can try to go to Google and type something in, and inevitably, even if you think you're not going to find us, you'll find us. Somehow, some way. It's the way we are. And we're geeking out, by the way, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's a chat room. It's part of a live video feed that I was referring to. At least I think I was referring to it. In this video, did I refer to it? I don't know. This is like the 7th take. But we are geeking out 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at live.perillo.com. We'll see you later.